Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that is both liberating and uncomfortable. Why inner work is not an option. Not something you might do if you feel like it, but something you must do if you truly want freedom, clarity, and joy in your life. And many of us spend our lives chasing solutions on the outside, be it money, relationships, experiences, approval, while the real answers always lie within us. And the truth, until we do the work inside, everything on the outside can only take us so far. So today we'll explore why inner work is essential, the cost of avoiding it, and how you can start today to transform your life from the inside out. So, before I dive deeper, I actually wanted to talk about my own experience and how I have also, by the way, I've really not accepted the fact that, whatever is on the inside is getting reflected on the outside for a very long time. And it's funny that I myself have been on this spiritual journey for the last 11 years. And even before that, I think 7, 8 years before that, even, before I started the healing work, I used to read about it, and I used to, be fascinated with healing work. However, it was only, I think, very recently, folks, I would say maybe a couple of years ago or maybe 3 years ago, when I really understood how, everything on the outside, be it my relationships, be it family dynamics, finances, whatever it was, everything was getting reflected based on how I was feeling on the inside. So my insecurities, my inner wounds, my self-worth issues, my uh, insecurities about, various things in life was actually like coming up either as a person or as a situation or as a relationship or as a client, and I had to deal with all of them based on what my frequency was. And it was and it was hard. Why? Because I wasn't feeling that stable within me, right? So if I was not feeling that stable within me, it was very hard for me to manage whatever was going on the outside. And now, after having done a lot of work, I realize when our frequency and our inner self is stable, then anything and everything on the outside becomes much easier to manage, much easier to deal with. Yeah. So, first, let's define what inner work really is. Inner work is not just journaling occasionally. A lot of times, we all talk about let's just write this down, and yeah, that is a part of it. Or, let's meditate, that is also a part of it. But there is much more that goes behind the inner work that I'm talking about here. Yeah. It's that conscious practice of looking at yourself, your beliefs, your patterns, your fears, and your wounds, right? And uncovering the layers that shape your reality. Okay. So think of your mind and energy like a garden. Okay. If you never pull out the weeds, no matter how much water or sunlight you give your plants, the weeds will keep taking over. Inner work is pulling out those weeds, the shame, the self doubt, the resentment, the old stories that no longer serve you. It's not always easy. I mean, I haven't seen it being easy when, especially when you're in that rebellion mode, when you don't want to. It's when you go in that surrender mode, it's much more smoother than you imagine. And obviously sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but just like a seed has to break through the soil to grow, you must break through old patterns to blossom into your full potential. Yeah. So many people think that inner work is optional, and that's why, folks, you must have seen now with all of the work, all of the distance healing that I do, I always recommend taking up coaching. Yeah, I always recommend doing one-on-one work with me as well. Yeah, because I have been on that journey. I know the depth of it. I know the difference it can bring in your lives. Yeah. There are so many people, right, who are just like so busy with their daily life. Yeah, they just say, I'll just focus on my career. I'll just focus on manifesting. I'll just focus on relationships, right? And while these things can bring temporary relief, avoidance comes at a cost. When we ignore our inner wounds, patterns repeat in our relationships. Money or success feels hollow, right? Or unsustainable. If you're not doing the inner work, folks, and you keep running behind quote unquote success, there will be a point where all of those inner children that need your attention, that need your love, will show up on your success journey. And if you keep avoiding them, then it can actually lead to uh, some sort of an experience which you would probably not like, and which will probably ask you, which will probably push you to overcome it so that you understand the true meaning of success. Yeah. We'll attract experiences that reflect our unresolved pain. You'll meet strangers, not even family member. You can even meet strangers that'll just be like your mother. Yeah. All that unresolved pain will show up. You'll meet a colleague that'll be just like your father. Yeah. You'll find a partner, right? Who's just like that sibling of yours who you lost, and there's this grief that you're carrying in your heart, and it all comes back when you see that lover of yours. Yeah. Our own happiness becomes conditional on external circumstances. So if, by the way, one of the biggest ways for you to understand if you have inner work to do or not is that if you are constantly focused on outer or external circumstances to make you happy, to make you feel whole, to make you feel like you're complete, to make you feel you're satisfied, then there's definitely something within you that needs some work. Yeah. So here's the key. If you don't do the inner work, life will keep reflecting your shadow back to you. Yeah, you'll keep seeing similar situations, conflicts, challenges, disappointments until you learn the lessons your soul needs. Yeah. Avoidance doesn't make the lessons disappear. It just makes them show up again and again and again. And sometimes louder and harder to ignore. Yeah. So it's a very stark example of my own life, right? Where I wasn't really sure about responsibilities. I wasn't sure about what to do. And I think I mentioned it earlier in another episode as well, that I was a runner, right? When you talk about fight or flight, I was the flight, right? And that was my trauma response of just being like running away from a situation so that I don't have to face it, right? However, what happens when we do that? Yes, temporarily we feel safe. However, whatever that lesson is of facing the fear, like looking fear into the eye, if you don't do that, what do you think? That fear is just contained in your home? It's just contained in your office? It's just contained in your bedroom? No. That fear can keep manifesting again and again in various shapes and forms, right? You can, again, like I said, you can meet a stranger, you can meet a colleague, you can meet a boss, and they will all have the same energy of what you're running from, because until and unless you see fear in the eyes, it will keep following you, folks. Yeah. And you see, the universe doesn't punish us. When I say this, it doesn't really mean it's punishing us. It just mirrors back what we haven't resolved inside. It's just a mirror, folks. If you have that fear within you, if you are a runner, if you are running away from something, that there is a stark fear, isn't it? That fear will just keep reflecting back at you, because what's inside is outside. Avoiding inner work is like trying to fix a leaking pipe by painting over it. Yeah. Sure, it might look good for, a while, but eventually the leak will show up somewhere else. Yeah. So why is inner work non-negotiable? Because it's the only path to real freedom, real healing, and real manifestation. And when you do the inner work, what do you do? Why do you do it? Not just to change your reality, but you're breaking cycles you inherited from your family or culture. You're stopping that self-sabotaging pattern, be it in love, work, money, whatever. You're aligning your energy with your soul's purpose. You're beginning to create from a place of empowerment and not fear. And here's the truth: until you face your shadows and learn the lessons they bring, life will keep presenting them to you in different forms. Inner work is the bridge between the life you have and the life you truly desire. Imagine trying to build a house on a foundation of sand. You might get it up, but it will crumble, isn't it? Inner work lays the foundation. Yeah. It strengthens you from the inside out. It's not optional, it's essential. So now let's clear up a few common misconceptions. And many of you have asked me, many of my previous clients have also asked me. So I thought I'll just put all of it together here. The first one is inner work is only for people with trauma. No, it is for everyone because everyone carries beliefs, fears, and habits that limit them, right? Inner work is for anyone who wants to level up in life. That's the truth. Number two, inner work is endless and never finish. I even heard a lot of healers say this, by the way. The truth is, there is no finish line, okay? But every insight, every release, every healing moment shifts your life instantly. You don't need perfection, you only need progress here, folks. So I am also doing my work today because something or the other probably is still triggering me, but many things from the past don't trigger me anymore. So maybe a big chunk is done, and maybe a little bit of cleaning and clearing continues throughout our lives, folks. Just like a physical body that we keep cleaning every day. We take a bath, we brush our teeth, right? Similar to that is our energy work because we are an energy being. So we keep picking up energies, fears, sometimes not our own, right? We pick up from people around us. We pick up from a situation. We live in a quite a dynamic and negative world, isn't it? So we are picking up on energy. So clearing every day is not an option, but a requirement to keep clearing your aura, right? Third misconception: I can manifest without inner work. Yes, but only to a certain level. You can attract things, but if your energy is misaligned or blocked, what you attract will always feel incomplete or temporary. You can try it. I, I have done this for years, so I know that you can manifest, right? But it's that deep feeling of, that well of happiness within you. Unless you have that inside of you, everything you're looking for on the outside will will never make you feel happy. Will never bring you that santosha, that fulfillment. Yeah. So now let's talk about how to start because knowing is necessary. It's an important point, but starting is another. Yeah. So there is a difference between knowing and then actually taking action on it. Okay. So definitely awareness, right? Number one is awareness. Begin noticing your triggers, reactions, and repeating patterns. By the way, folks, people spend their whole lives not even knowing what's triggering them, or just ignoring it, or just thinking of it as a feeling and just letting it be, and actually keep reacting on that same trigger again and again and again and again. They don't even have that awareness, or they don't even want to bring that awareness. So number one is awareness. It's very important. Watching your thoughts, emotions, and impulses without judgment. Number one. That's the beginning of inner work, by the way. Then, of course, reflection. It could be in the form of journaling, right? Asking yourself honest questions. Why do I feel this way? What story am I telling myself? What am I avoiding? Yeah. Of course, inner child healing is very important. Connecting with your younger self, acknowledging the needs of your inner children. Yeah. It just opens up doors, folks, to profound release and compassion, which we all need for ourselves. Join my free uh, RTU classes, Return to the Real You. And the next class is on end of September. It's on inner child, how to connect with our inner child. Meditation, mindfulness, so many practices out there, folks. Every day choose a practice. And then, of course, energy work, healing, you know, any kind of movement. All of this is essential in your lives. Every day, 10 minutes, dedicate to inner work. You'll start to begin, you'll start to see subtle shifts, be it, the way you think, be it in your energy, the way you talk, the way you feel, all of that. And remember, the sooner you start, the sooner the shadows stop showing up in your life in difficult ways. And when you commit, when you commit to inner child or inner work, or any kind of consistent work, magic begins to happen. You will stop attracting toxic relationships because your boundaries will be very clear. You will start seeing money and opportunities flow into your life more effortlessly because you feel worthy now. You will experience peace even in chaos because you're anchored in yourself. You'll discover your intuition and inner guidance, which always points you to what's best. Yeah. So again, inner work is not a punishment. It's the ultimate self-care, the ultimate empowerment that you can have, folks. It's your personal revolution. It's how you stop life from reflecting your shadow endlessly and you start living in alignment with your soul. So if you've been waiting for the right time, the truth is the right time is now. Inner work is not optional, it's essential. Your happiness, clarity, freedom, and fulfillment depend on it. So start small, start today. Commit to your inner life the same way you commit to your career, your relationships, or your dreams. Actually, one of your dreams should be to be able to connect with yourself in a fulfilling way, to find that peace within you. Your inner self is your greatest asset. And people spend their whole lives not connecting with their own selves, just looking for something on the outside and then just feeling hollow on the inside. And when you invest in yourself, you will see everything else in your life will transform. Everything. Yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. I hope this episode reminds you that your inner world is sacred and tending to it is non-negotiable. So take a moment today to pause, reflect, and ask yourself, what part of me needs my attention right now? And that question alone can start your journey. Yeah. So until next time, keep doing the work, keep loving yourself, and keep awakening to your true power. Signing off, Anisha Dutt from